An apology was made today by the London police chief to the young woman at the centre of the Hockey Canada sexual assault case. He apologized for how long it took to bring these charges forward, though wouldn't say what mistakes were made along the way. A news conference today left many questions, but detectives did say more evidence was uncovered when they reopened the investigation in 2022. That led to the charges against 5 former World Junior players.
I want to extend, on behalf of the London Police Service, my sincerest apology to the victim.
London's police chief apologized today to the victim, known publicly as EM, and her family for how long it took police to file charges.
This should not take this long. It shouldn't take years and years for us, to arrive to the outcome of today.
It's been 6 years since London police first began their investigation in summer of 2018, but the case was closed in February the following year without laying any charges. It wasn't until news came out that Hockey Canada quietly settled a $3.5 million lawsuit with EM in 2022 that police reopened the investigation. Calgary Flames forward Dylan Dubé, Philadelphia Flyers goaltender Carter Hart, New Jersey Devils forward Michael McLeod, and defenseman Cal Foote, and Alex Fermenton, a former Ottawa Senators forward who has been playing with Switzerland, are all facing one charge of sexual assault. McLeod also faces a second charge of being a party to sexual assault. The detective explains what that charge means.
The one charge he was laid with is in relation to his own actions, and the party to the offense charge is in relation to aiding someone else in committing the offense.
So players have all issued statements through their lawyers denying wrongdoing and saying they will fight the charges. All 5 players have announced leaves of absence from their hockey clubs. The NHL's commissioner confirmed Friday that the 4 league players are still being paid and says he doesn't think they need to be suspended as they're already on leave.
This is, as I've said repeatedly, a fairly complicated jurisprudential matter. The fact that they're away from their teams and not playing, I'm comfortable with.
The charges stem from an alleged incident in 2018 following a Hockey Canada event. A young woman told police she met players from the 2018 World Junior team at a bar and had consensual sex with one of them at a hotel room. She alleges that without her knowledge, the player invited several more teammates into the room who sexually assaulted her. She told police that she wasn't able to leave the room as she feared for her safety. The detective wouldn't give specifics, but said more evidence became available after they reopened the investigation in 2022.
I can confirm that some of this evidence was not available when the investigation concluded in 2019.
Lawyers for the players appeared in court virtually this morning. A next appearance is scheduled for April 30th. Hockey Canada released their first statement since charges were announced today. Reading in part, Hockey Canada recognizes that in the past we have been too slow to act and that they're introducing new measures to regain Canadians' trust. For more insights on the Hockey Canada court case, we're joined by criminal defense lawyer Monte McGregor. Thanks for joining us, Monte.
Thanks for having me.
In a news conference today, police said they collected new evidence when they reopened the investigation in 2022, but didn't say what. What would need to change in the investigation for police to lay charges now?
Well, the police generally have a discretion whether or not to proceed to charge someone. If someone comes and makes a complaint or provides information that supports an allegation, then the police generally will proceed with it. And it's important to note that in a sex assault case, often there is no other evidence to corroborate what one individual says. Somebody comes forward and says, I was sexually assaulted. That should be sufficient to proceed. Now, the police elected not to and have now said that new information has come along. That may or may not be completely accurate. And often it happens in cases. I think it's important for the public to know that often, an occurrence can happen and then it could be years before information comes up. DNA is the perfect example where it's not known at the time of an offense and then it's discovered and then that leads to charging someone. Here, they actually took the choice to not proceed. And I would be hard pressed on a sex assault to think what would be required other than the person saying they sexually assaulted me to proceed. I think the likelihood is there was a lot of political pressure based on the inquiry into Hockey Canada That led to a review of this particular case. And then given that, they decided to proceed. I mean, I may be wrong. Maybe they did have videos or other information available, but really all the complainant needed to do was say, these people sexually assaulted me, and that should be sufficient to proceed forward.
Police today apologized for how long it took to lay these charges. Is a 6-year investigation out of the ordinary?
Yes, I think that is probably too long. And that's why, as I said, a lot of times with violent offenses, somebody commits a violent offense and they don't know who the person is that perpetrated that crime. And then DNA comes up later, which usually, or a witness comes forward much later. But that's not the case here. It sounds like the complainant, the young lady that claims she was sexually assaulted, went forward very quickly to the police. They listened to what she had to say, and then they used their discretion not to proceed. So given that, I think they were taking a lot of heat today in that press conference appropriately, because it seems like the initial officers that met with her and reviewed the case felt that there wasn't a sufficient amount to go forward. Clearly, that's not the case. They wouldn't be proceeding with such a serious charge against a number of individuals if there wasn't sufficiency. And with a sex assault, again, the threshold is if someone comes forward and makes out a claim, that's typically sufficient. So I'm not surprised that the police had a lot of apologizing to do at that press conference.
That's Monte McGregor, criminal defense lawyer. Thanks for your time today, Monte.
Thanks for having me.
We head now to London, the center of the investigation, where Matt Ingram has been covering the story all day. Matt, at the news conference today, police faced a lot of questions about what happened between the closure of the investigation in 2019 and the reopening in 2022. Did they give any indication what took place?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it, Emily? What changed between that initial investigation where they said there wasn't enough evidence to bring charges and today when they're confirming these charges that we've already heard about? Now, the lawyer you spoke with there brings up a good point. There was a lot of political pressure because of the parliamentary investigations and the national outcry after that lawsuit settlement was revealed by TSN's Rick Westhead. Now, that timing-wise comes just as this new investigation begins. And now police say once that new investigation began, they revealed that there were some ways that they could collect evidence, not really specifically saying what, of course, that they're doing. That did lead to some new evidence collected. Now, the investigators who were on that first case are not involved in this second case, but of course, police today very tight-lipped on what exactly they have uncovered. A big question that police addressed, sort of, was why wasn't this case reviewed by the committee that's supposed to review cases of sexual assault where charges aren't laid? There wasn't really a good answer for that, Emily.
All right, just one more question for you, Matt. The initial claims say from the victims say 8 players were involved, but of course 5 have been charged. Did police say if any more charges are coming?
They wouldn't answer this, and they said specifically that they wouldn't comment on this. They said that they have laid the charges, that they have sufficient evidence and grounds for, but wouldn't take the bait when several reporters tried to get them to say whether we could expect more charges on this. Of course, court documents indicate that there may have been as many as 8 players in that hotel room here in London, 5 now facing charges. For now, we'll just have to wait and see. But certainly London police not shutting the door either on the potential for more charges.
All right, thanks so much, Matt. That's our Matt Ingram reporting live from London.